That's what it is. You know what I mean? But we got three disturbing. How did I forget? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Chick Willie Silly, man. AKA Mr. Take It Easy. Play it all like easy. Cause you know Jay told them lazy. But we got three disturbing true Easter horror stories. You know what I'm saying? Well, I never, I'm gonna keep it real. As I started growing up, I started seeing holidays has really never really been exciting to me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Christmas hasn't been the same. Easter hasn't been the same. You know what I'm saying? And they say Easter is the celebration for Jesus' resurrection. But for me, I celebrate Jesus every day. When I wake up, I pray to Jesus, pray to God, get in my Bible. I celebrate him every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the heck with Easter. I started growing up and I just started looking at these holidays like these some man-made holidays. Even Jesus ain't celebrate Easter. Even Jesus ain't celebrate Christmas. I want y'all to tell me, was Christmas mentioned in the Bible? Christmas ain't mentioned in the Bible. I want y'all to tell me, when was Jesus celebrating Christmas? When was Jesus celebrating Christmas? But they say us the day when Jesus was born. Man, Jesus don't give a dang about no Christmas. Humans made a freaking man-made holiday and call it Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Humans made a man talking about some Easter egg hunting. Man, I don't give a dang about no Easter. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you celebrate Easter, niggas celebrate Easter. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Just keeping it real with you. You know, for me, I ain't gonna lie. You know, I'm gonna celebrate Halloween. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you feel me? I'll let my kids celebrate. I ain't gonna celebrate Halloween. How I celebrate Halloween, you know, give me some, you know, I ain't gonna lie, give me a lot of candy, bro, and then go into the room and, you know, watch some horror movies. You know what I mean? That's how I celebrate Halloween. You know what I mean? But, you know, and they, you know, holidays, it's cool enough. I hate when people try to make it seem like holidays gotta be mandatory. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. You know, people celebrate holidays. If you celebrate holidays, celebrate holidays. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But, nigga, don't act like everybody gotta, you know what I'm saying? Even though I am gonna celebrate Christmas, but thumbnail time. But it's like, for me, I celebrate like Christmas, like for me, I celebrate Christmas the way I celebrate it. That's what it's saying, like, to me. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like as you've been growing up, you know what I'm saying? You know, Christmas is more giving than receiving. Y'all know that, man. Growing up, man, Christmas is more giving than receiving. So it's like, you know, Christmas just, you know, I don't know, family or something, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm going to do for this Christmas. You know, last Christmas wasn't really nothing. You know what I mean? Honestly, you feel me? Like, last Christmas, like a regular day.
This happened when I was a little kid, maybe 6 or 7. My family has always been very religious, so Easter has always been a huge deal for us. Same with most of the other major religious holidays. That's
what I'll be saying, religious. Like this got nothing, like, like, talking about religious, this has nothing to do with Jesus. That's all I'll be saying. Like, it's very religious, you know? Man just brainwashed everybody to thinking that Jesus cares if you celebrate Easter. Jesus cares if you celebrate Christmas. Man, Jesus ain't never celebrate no Christmas. Jesus ain't never celebrate no Easter.
Now that I think of it, even Sunday kind of felt like its own holiday with the way my parents treated church. It's actually kind of funny. Some of my earliest memories are church-related. What I'm about to tell you is one of them. It was Easter Sunday, so all the services are much longer than usual. I don't mind, though. My parents instilled the love of Christ in me very early on.
For sure, for sure.
After the service was Sunday school, or CCD as our church called it. I know lots of churches don't offer Sunday.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real with you. At the church, we hide. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real with you. All that, you know, Sunday school, at the church, we hide. I'm gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? At the church, get the word, you know. When I go to church, I get the word, my pastor talk, you know what I'm saying? After that, we hide. You know what I'm saying? You know, that is what it is, Sunday school. But, you know, if you're trying to get involved in the church, you know what I mean, then that's a different thing. For me, I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting involved in the church. I'm finna join a video editing thing. What's that freaking team I'm finna join? If you're trying to serve, then yeah, you know what I'm saying, after, you feel me? But, you know, the Sunday school and all that, you know what I'm saying, I ain't really trying.
school after really important masses, but ours did. So after the mass, my parents took me downstairs to all the classrooms like they had done 100 times, and I said goodbye. I'm just going to describe the layout of the church now so this story makes sense. Our church had kind of a split-level layout. The main sanctuary was upstairs where the altar and pews were, and then all the classrooms were in the basement. It was technically a basement, but the church was on a slope. You could still get in and out of the building from down there. There was this long carpeted hallway down there with maybe 7 or 8 rooms branching off on each side, grouped by age. My classroom was one of the first ones on the left. At the very end of the hallway were the 2 bathrooms, one for boys and one for girls. Right next to those was a heavy gray door that led outside. It was almost always locked from the inside, but I remember being told it could be used in case of an emergency. The adults always warned us to never leave from that door because it would automatically lock behind us, and we'd have no way of getting back inside the church. But anyway, back to the story. The whole downstairs had been decorated for Easter, like really decorated. The walls were covered in pastel streamers and little paper cutouts of lambs and crosses, and there were drawings of Jesus with kids taped up between the classroom doors. Some of the teachers had even worn these cheap bunny ears you get at CVS.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't with all that little fake Jesus junk, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't like all that, you know, 'cause I feel like that's like, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of idolatry, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all be praising like a photo, you know what I mean? Because none of us know what Jesus really looked like. So I get like, that junk make me mad seeing a fake Jesus. It's like you idolizing somebody that ain't Jesus. That's not Jesus, bro. You know what I mean? Nigga, you don't know who the freak Jesus is. All these little fake pictures of Jesus. Jesus is Jesus to me. That's it and that's all. I'm not gonna have no white man on my wall. The freak is this random white man you calling Jesus? Who is this random black man, whatever you calling Jesus? Bro, you and I don't know what Jesus looked like, bro. So at the end of the day, that's a sense of idolatry, bro. You idolizing somebody that ain't Jesus. Ain't Jesus looking down, bro? Who the freak is you talking? Jesus, I'm Jesus. That's how Jesus looking like. Jesus like, I'm Jesus. I don't know who that is on your wall, but it ain't me. They be having a white Jesus on their wall like that's Jesus. They ain't no Jesus, bro. You feel me? Whatever, black Jesus, whatever. You don't know how Jesus look. None of us know how Jesus look. We only gonna know what Jesus look till he return and when we see him. That's it. But you ain't finna see Jay with no white Jesus on his wall. You know what I'm saying? Jesus in my eyes. I don't know how Jesus look. You know what I mean?
Actually felt more festive down there than it had upstairs during mass.
A little fake Jesus,
all
y'all
the kids
be.
were in a good mood too, probably because everyone knew there'd be egg hunts later in the day. Normally I'd wait until class was over to go to the bathroom, because the Easter service had run way longer than usual masses, and I couldn't hold it. I raised my hand and asked to go, and the teacher excused me from the room. The bathrooms were maybe 15 feet down the hall, and it wasn't uncommon for kids to go by themselves. They always said if we took too long, they'd come check, but I don't remember that ever actually happening. So I slipped out quietly while the rest of the class was coloring pictures of the empty tomb and Jesus rising from it. I went into the boys' bathroom and shut the stall door behind me. It was quiet, but those bathrooms were old. All I could hear was the soft hum of the fluorescent lights and the faint sound of a teacher's voice echoing down the hallway. But as I was sitting there, I suddenly heard this weird scraping sound coming from the stall next to mine. It didn't sound like anything normal, not like someone shifting or unlocking a door.
Pray to Jesus.
It was a slow, uneven metal sound, like something was being dragged or scraped against the inside of the door. Not loud, but sharp. I don't remember being scared. I was mostly just confused. At first, I thought it was another kid, so I kept quiet and finished up my business. As I was washing my hands, though, I looked into the mirror and saw that stall door opening slowly. But instead of another kid stepping out, it was a grown man wearing an Easter bunny costume. I remember the way the ears flopped forward a little, and how the suit looked off. It was kind of saggy and stained in places, like it hadn't been washed ever. The fur was more of a grayish white than a bright white, and one of the eyes on the head looked like it had been sewn back on crooked. But the thing is, I don't remember being scared when I saw him. Not then. Like I said, I was pretty young, and in my mind, this was just the Easter bunny making a surprise visit. I actually smiled when I turned around. I think I even said something like, "Hi." He didn't say anything at first, just stood there halfway out of the stall, staring at me. His head was tilted slightly, and he didn't move. I remember feeling a little awkward, like I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say something else. Then, after a long pause, he stepped all the way out and slowly raised one of his arms, pointing towards the door like he was guiding me out. That's when he finally spoke. His voice was muffled behind the costume, but I still remember the exact words. He said, "You're the lucky chosen child. I have a gift for you outside." I didn't even hesitate. I was excited, like genuinely thrilled at the idea that I'd been picked for some kind of special Easter surprise.
And this a freaking, see, for me, I can't be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, bro, you dumb as freak, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I be saying to the other nigga, you know, you dumb. It's a little kid, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a little kid, bro. You feel me? You know, kids be innocent, bro. You know, kids don't really be knowing how the world truly is. They so innocent, bro. You feel me? So, bro, just, oh, that's the Easter Bunny. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Easter Bunny, I got a treat. You know what I mean? So, bro, just like, he thinking like a kid. You know what I'm saying? But the whole time, this Easter Bunny, this little raggedy, stank Easter Bunny got some, you know, evil intentions. It's no telling who the freak. It's probably a child abductor. You know what I mean? It's probably a serial killer that's in that Easter Bunny costume. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time, this man, this little boy think that, you know what I'm saying? You know, this the Easter Bunny. I'm finna get some treats or something. You know what I mean? So we really can't be on some like, and you dumb as heck. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a little kid, man. You know what I'm saying?
I think the fact that this was happening.
And you at church. You know what I mean? You know, church supposed to be like a safe place for people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, stuff like this happening in church, you know.
In my church gave me a false sense of security or something. I pushed open the big gray door without thinking twice, not even remembering that it was supposed to stay locked. The Easter Bunny followed right behind, not saying anything else. He started walking across the pavement toward the far corner of the church parking lot. There was a car parked back there, mostly hidden from view by the dumpster.
It's weird, bro. Like, it be really people out here preying on kids. Like, it's like, gang, I ain't gonna cap. You gotta be a sick person, bro. Like, you a grown man preying on a little kid, bro. You know what I'm saying? That right there, boy. That's some sick ish right there, boy. There's nothing sicker than that, boy.
Lot.
I can't cap
there
you
was
down,
a car
man.
parked back there, mostly hidden from
Nothing
view by
sicker
the
than that.
dumpster and a few scraggly bushes. I remember thinking it was weird that he had parked so far away, and that he didn't even have a basket of candy or anything. At one point, he started holding my hand. We were maybe halfway across the lot when I saw it. A second Easter Bunny stepping out from a car he was leading me to. At first, I just stopped walking.
Hey, I promise you that, my son. I promise, bro. I promise you, I'm a boy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna lie, this jump make me mad, bro. I'm just envisioning like, dang, what if that was my son, bro? You got these little grown men, bro, luring my child in, bro. I don't know what the freak you finna do to my child, bro. That right there make me mad. That right there want me, you know, put that bullet in your Easter Bunny head. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, man. I'm telling you, boy, for real. That's what I'm saying, boy. I can't have no kid. I'm gonna put a bullet in your head. You know what I'm saying? Keep it real with you, boy. Mess with my kid, bro. I'm telling you, I'm gonna look at you, boy. I'm gonna show you. You gonna know. You know what I'm saying? You gonna know that, oh yeah, that nigga dad don't play. You know what I'm saying? We can't mess with that kid right there. That nigga dad gonna shoot something. You know what I'm saying? You gonna know. By the look at my face, you gonna know I ain't gonna play the road with you, but yeah, that's all right.
Out from a car he was leading me to.
See something?
At first, I just stopped walking. My little brain didn't know what to make of it.
Little kid,
I
man.
remember looking back and forth between the two of them, completely confused. I hadn't seen that car earlier, and now there were two Easter bunnies? Something about it didn't feel magical anymore. It just felt wrong. To this day, I've always thought of what happened next as an act of God. One of the teachers, I think her name was Miss Sabrina, just happened to be walking around the church, maybe heading out to prep for the egg hunt or check on something outside. She looked over at the parking lot right as I was being led over to the car. I'll never forget the sound she made. I've never heard a more terrifying scream in my life.
See, that right there? That, bro, at that moment, y'all, this finna happen to that little boy. A woman come walking out. Y'all got the nerve to be telling me, and people got the nerve to be, it had to be an act of God. Bro, that's how God works. See, that's why I be trying to tell people. See, people think, you read the Bible, bro, and you See, I say people that don't believe in God, they don't know God. They don't know him. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, like, bro, you know, hey, bro, you know, you believing in God, you believing in this. I seen people talk about this Sky Daddy and all that, because you know what? They don't know him. You don't know nothing about God. You don't even feel him. You know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, yeah, you don't believe, because it's like, you know, but you know, the main thing, it'd be crazy though. People say they don't believe in God, but guess what? If something happened to them, guess what? Oh my God! But you don't believe in God. Jesus Christ! What you saying Jesus Christ's name and you don't believe in Jesus Christ? You saying, oh my God, but you don't believe in God? Why you don't say, oh my, I don't know what the freak you gonna say. You know what I'm saying? Why you don't say, oh my, something else? But why you say, oh my God? You got atheists be saying, oh my God, but you don't believe in God. You know why you saying, oh my God? Because it was in us. He created us for him. Can't escape it. Y'all be saying, oh my God, and don't even be realizing. You know why? Because we made for him. So this is how God works. God works through people. God not finna come down. My son, here I am. I shall present myself to you. That's how they think God finna come down. They think God finna come down face to face. Bro, we would die if we seen God. You know what I'm saying? God works through people, bro. He's a spirit. He works through people. So the second that boy was finna go to that car, all of a sudden that woman just, yeah, let me go and just, you know, who put it in her mind walk around the church at that specific time when the boy finna get kidnapped? It's God, bro. God works through people. That's what I be trying to get people to understand about God. You know what I'm saying? But I told y'all, people need proof of God, but they don't need proof of Abraham Lincoln. They don't need proof of George Washington. They don't need proof of none of them. They believe what they read. You know what I'm saying? But with God, we need all the proof. We got evidence, the Bible, the world, evidence. You know what I'm saying? Just like Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, you read the history books, evidence. But you ain't got no proof that George Washington and Abraham Lincoln was alive. You weren't there to see them, but you believe that, though.
Life. The man in the
You believe in George Washington. You believe George Washington was here. You believe Abraham Lincoln was here, but you never seen them. But we got evidence. So do we. When it comes to God, we got evidence through the Bible. Your evidence, what is history books?
I immediately let go of my hand and bolted for the car. And without thinking, I took off running in the opposite direction toward Miss Sabrina. Once I was safe in her arms, I turned my head just in time to catch a glimpse of the car, which was now speeding out of the parking lot. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure I saw another kid in the back seat of that car.
What?
Miss Sabrina wasn't even looking, but I told her what I had seen and she took me seriously. The next few hours are a little blurry. Miss Sabrina alerted the other adults right away, and police eventually made me tell them what happened. They asked about the kid I said I saw in the back seat.
And
I did my best to describe him, even though I had only seen him for like a split second, and I wasn't even sure if my mind was playing tricks on me or not. My parents were the most upset, and for good reason. I think my mom cried for an hour straight after we went home. The police followed up with the church, but nothing ever came of it. There were no missing children in the area, so the police didn't really have anything to work on. The running theory was that whoever had been in that costume somehow had a key to the back door and just sat in the bathroom waiting for a kid to use it.
What if it's somebody that go to that church?
Sheer misfortune, that kid had been me. I still find the whole thing deeply unsettling. Whoever had done that must have been familiar with the church's layout. Otherwise, they wouldn't have known where to park or wait, or even how to get away with it all.
Right.
But what scares me the most is that I think there really was a kid in the backseat of that car. It's hard for an Easter to come and go without me thinking about this experience.
You said cameras? They was in the Easter. I mean, most likely their car did not have license plates. That's most likely. Their car didn't have license plates. Most likely. They out there doing crime like that.
I just graduated high school last year.
Their car
which is when what I'm about to tell you took place.
Dang, that cape look good. I'm in the mood with some cape. I ain't gonna count you. Boy got done training. I just got done training, but I like some cake right now.
Easter has always been a fun time of the year for my friends and I, but not for the reason you think. We've outgrown those childish Easter egg hunts that everyone does when they're little, and I honestly cringe when my parents make me participate in one with my younger cousins.
You still gotta participate. I wish my parents would. I wish my parents would, but I ain't gonna lie. But Easter egg hunt, bro, used to go crazy. We gotta find that golden egg. We already knew we gotta find that golden egg now. You know what I'm saying? Used to go crazy back in the day. They were good times though, man. Good times, man.
A few years ago, I can't remember exactly when, my friends and I created a fun twist on the typical egg hunt format and devised our own game. It's not really that special. It's basically just a mashup of manhunts and an Easter egg hunt. It's two teams like manhunts, but the seekers are also responsible for hiding and protecting a few eggs. If the hiders manage to capture all the eggs, they win. And if the seekers don't find all the hiders within a certain time frame, the hiders also win. There are some other dumb rules, like how the seekers can't be camping where any of the eggs are hidden, and stuff like that. But that's not super relevant to the story. It was the Thursday before Easter, and school was canceled the next day for whatever reason. So we decided to have a sleepover that night. It was me, Jake, Race, Chuck...
Jake? Here we go with Jake again, Jake! You know what I mean? What I told you about Jake, Joey? You know what I mean? Oscar? I told y'all, bro. It's always Jake. Jake, Joey, Oscar.
And Raz. Raz wasn't actually his real name. His last name was Razzie, but everyone just called him Raz.
Raz? Oh my God. Raz? It's another name. Never trust nobody named Raz. You know what I mean? I told y'all, what parents in their right mind, we're going to name this baby Raz. Come on now. Is this certain names? Jake, Raz, Joe, Oscar.
His family had the biggest house by far.
Never hang out with nobody that asked him names. Ever.
He lived in the middle of nowhere, and his backyard bordered a decently sized wooded area.
Ain't right, man.
Plus, his parents were out of town until Friday night, so we'd have the place to ourselves. We were just chilling, playing video games in his basement, when Chuck suggested we play manhunt.
Chuck.
We were all down, so we rounded up whatever flashlights Raz had in his garage. We used a random number generator on Jake's phone to pick random teams, just to keep it fair and unpredictable. I was on a team with Chuck and Raz, and we were seeking. Jake and Arthur were hiding. Raz's mom had a ton of plastic eggs upstairs, so we grabbed a couple of them and all of us went outside. We'd played back there a bunch of times before, so we already knew the layout. The far boundary was the fence line, and the other edges were the creek and the back slope that ran down towards Raz's neighbor's horse pasture.
Okay.
We set timers on our phones to give the hiders enough time to hide, and us enough time to hide our eggs. Once 10 minutes passed, the game had officially begun. I should also mention that the sun had already gone down, but it wasn't completely dark out yet. Once the timer went off, we all split up to cover more ground. I veered left into a thicker patch of trees while Raz and Chuck went the other way. I kept my hand over my flashlight, just skimming the ground every few steps so that I wouldn't trip, but I mostly relied on the moonlight to see. The game was way more fun when you actually felt like you were sneaking around. And besides, if one of the hiders saw a flashlight beam coming toward them, they'd just book it. A few minutes in, I thought I saw something move 20 or 30 feet in front of me. At first, I couldn't tell if I was imagining it, but then I saw it again. I instantly turned my flashlight off and froze in place. Someone was crouching behind a tree up ahead. Whoever it was must not have seen me, otherwise they'd definitely have run off. They weren't moving, like they were trying to stay perfectly still. My first guess was that it was Race. He always picked spots close to the seekers, thinking no one would expect it. I decided to try to get the jump on him. I crouched down a bit myself and started moving slowly, trying to circle around behind him. When I got close enough, I sprang forward and lunged at whoever was crouching there, tapping him hard on the shoulder and yelling, "Gotcha!" But the second he turned around, I felt a wave of fear wash over me.
Oh, crap.
It wasn't any of my friends. It was a grown man with slicked back hair and these wide open eyes, like he was on drugs. His
homeless
clothes
nigga.
were all torn up and he smelled awful.
He a homeless
I
nigga.
was so taken aback that I didn't even realize what was going on. Before I could react, he tackled me to the ground. I screamed.
Beat him, get him down, beat him!
Going on. Before I could react, he tackled me to the ground. I screamed as I hit the dirt, but before I could yell out again, his hands were around my throat. He was pressing down with all his weight, and in that moment, I honestly thought my life was over. I couldn't breathe, and I didn't have the strength to overpower him from that.
Man, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. Ain't no nigga ever choking me out. You know what I'm saying? If you would have went out like that, I ain't gonna lie. You went out bad, twin. Nigga think he finna choke me to death, nigga? Boy, you got your dang mind. Like, imagine if a nigga died. How that nigga die? Shoot, I don't know, man. That man got choked to death. What? Nigga got choked to death. Nigga choked that nigga to death? I know bro ain't get choked to death now. Get shot? Alright. Nigga got shot every day. Niggas get shot every day, B. You know what I mean? Nigga get shot? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? That's everyday work. But a nigga get choked out? What? This nigga got choked to death? I will not feel good about myself in the afterlife. Even if I went to heaven, God, I gotta go back. I gotta go back, God. I don't like the way I went out. I'd rather go out with a gun and choke. Man, that nigga choked me to death, God. I gotta go back. I got to. I got choked to death. I can't get choked to death, man. You know what I'm saying? But nah, though. Beat to death and choke to death. That can't happen to me. Even get shot, yeah, that can't happen to me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I gotta die by natural causes. That's why I move the way I move. I gotta die by natural causes. Cause in the afterlife, I will not feel good with myself knowing that another nigga put me in the ground. I won't feel good. I can't. You know, and that's why I move with every step that I do. Everywhere I go, I look around. Everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be an innocent bystander. I'm not trying to be nothing. You know what I mean? I'm looking everywhere I go. You know what I mean? Maybe I am too paranoid. Oh, so be it. But I know if a nigga take me out this life, I will not feel right about myself in the afterlife. I won't. You know what I'm saying? I'm begging God, God, please, give me one more chance. God, please. You know what I'm saying? Nah, though, man, I gotta die by natural causes. When I die natural causes, it has to be. It will be.
And then, out of nowhere, he stopped. Out of the corner.
Oh no, I thought your friends helped you or something. I thought you were finna say like Chuck, Jake, Raz. I thought you was finna say like they helped you. So basically, you was finna get choked. Basically, you was finna get choked to death, but the nigga just stopped. So you was finna die by the nigga like choking you. So you finna get, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, you better thank God the nigga stopped. Your boy finna get choked to death. It ain't funny. You know what I'm saying? But dang, bro, you finna just let the nigga choke you to death? Like, come on, gang. Can't get choked to death now.
And then, out of nowhere, he stopped. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flashlight beam bouncing off the trees somewhere behind us. One of my friends must have been running towards us. The guy must have seen the light too, because he jumped off without saying a word and straight up ran into the woods, disappearing almost immediately. I just laid there, gasping for air, still too stunned to move. A few seconds later, Chuck reached me, helped me up, and said he saw the whole thing. I wanted to chase after that guy, but Chuck told me that was an awful idea. So the two of us instead ran back towards the house.
I wanted to chase after that guy. Now you want to act big now, but you just finna get choked out. You don't go in it. All right, now you better go in the house and get choked out again now. I wanted to chase after that guy. I told y'all when you get choked, that nigga he didn't feel right. Like, nah, man, that nigga just choked me out, man. I want to chase after that nigga. I got to get that nigga again, man.
But Chuck told me that was an awful idea. So the two of us instead ran back towards the house. Chuck called the rest of the crew and told everyone to go back to Raz's house immediately. Once we all reconvened, I told everyone what happened. After Chuck filled in the rest of the gaps, everyone started talking over each other. But then, Arthur said something that shut all of us up. He said that before the game even started, meaning before the initial 10 minutes were up, he saw two people walking through the trees near where he was hiding. He said they were moving slowly, like they were scouting or waiting for something, and he'd actually gotten pissed at the time because he thought it was two of the Seekers teaming up and breaking the rules. That's when me, Chuck, and Raz all looked at each other and immediately shook our heads. None of us had been walking together, and there was no way we could have gotten all the way to their side in such a short time frame anyway. The realization hit us all at once. If it wasn't any of us, then there were at least 3 other people out in those woods that night.
Hey.
One who attacked me, and 2 more who were moving around before the game had even started. In that moment, I realized how smart I had been for listening to Chuck and not chasing after my attacker. He might have saved me from walking headfirst into an ambush. I told everyone we needed to call the cops.
They gone,
They
bro.
had literally been attacked.
They gone.
But the second I said it, Raz cut me off. He got weirdly serious and said, "No, we're not calling anyone." I asked him what in the world he was talking about, and he said he was technically grounded, and beyond that, he wasn't allowed to host anyone while his parents were out of town, so involving the cops would get him in serious hot water. I told him this was a serious situation.
Bro, hey, bro, we're not calling the cops. My nigga just said that he freaked, bro. You know what I'm saying? He can't have no friend. We're not calling the cops, bro. Nigga ain't supposed to have nobody over. You know what I mean? They're gone, bro. You gotta realize that, bro, you calling the cops, it's nothing they can do, because guess what? They're gone, bro. They're gone. They're not gonna find them. So you're calling the cops for no reason. Call the cops. They don't find the dudes. Now you just got your boy Raz in trouble. All right, nigga ain't calling the cops. Listen to Raz and shut up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, bro. This was a very serious situation, bro. Shut up, gang.
Involving the police, but he didn't budge. The rest of the guys were kind of stuck in the middle. No one wanted to put Raz in a bad spot with his parents.
Exactly, bro.
I could tell that they were all having a hard time just pretending that the whole thing didn't happen. Eventually, I caved and agreed to not call the police and try to just enjoy the rest of the night. But I was seriously shaken. I ended up going to bed early that night and left Raz's house the next morning before anyone else was awake. This might surprise some of you, but I actually wasn't too affected by this experience. I'm very much of the mentality that things happen and people have to move on, so that's what I did. Anyway, about a week after everything went down, Raz told us all that he felt bad just leaving those Easter eggs out in the woods, so he had gone to collect them even though he was scared out of his mind. We all got a good laugh out of that, but his comment made me think back to that night and contemplate my life a little. I have no idea what those men were doing in those woods that night, but I can confidently say that I won't be spending the night at Raz's place anytime soon. Anyway, I'm at college now and I'm far, far away from Raz's backyard, but being as Easter is coming up next month, I got reminded of this story.
Y'all can hear me? Man, what about hear me? Man, what about hear me? Yeah, I can hear me.
Every Easter, my entire extended family takes the trip out to my Uncle John's house, who lives way out in the sticks. This past year was no different. Uncle John lives in a huge house that sits on a wide open stretch of land, which is surrounded by woods on all sides. Even though I've been there before, many times actually, I've never actually wandered out in the woods behind his house before. I'm not much of a nature person, so I've never had much of an interest in the outdoors. I was dreading the trip, to tell you the truth. I've never really related much to that side of my family. They're all super outdoorsy, into hunting and fishing and stuff like that, and most of them have lived in the same place their whole lives.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, man, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, sometimes it's good to try new things, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, like hunt. I mean, for me, I'm not finna go out there and kill no deer. I just never felt the satisfaction of that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go out there and kill no deer, but, you know, fishing, that's something that I like to do, you know what I'm saying? Being different and whatnot, you know what I mean? Stepping outside the norm.
Much to that side of my family. They're all super outdoorsy, into hunting and fishing and stuff like that, and most of them have lived in the same place their whole lives. Anytime I'm around them, I feel kind of like the odd one out. On top of that, most of my cousins are way older than me, like already married with kids or working on some kind of farm. The only one even remotely close to my age is Kevin. He's a couple years older than me and actually pretty chill. We always end up sticking together during these family trips just by default. He knows I don't really fit in with the rest of them, so he's usually good about keeping me company without making it weird. Anyway, we made the drive to Uncle John's late Friday night. I'm an only child, so it was just my parents and I in the car. I was exhausted from the drive, so I went to bed almost immediately. The next morning, Kevin and I spent a couple hours in Uncle John's basement playing pool table. Neither of us was any good, but it was better than sitting around upstairs. The house was already packed with relatives.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. There be some nice houses you be showing, man. What website you be going on, bro? That's one thing. I know we talking about scary stories, but nigga, what website you be going on, man? There be some nice houses you be showing, my nigga.
You know what the usual holiday chaos is like. We mostly stayed downstairs.
Like, I don't want to stay nowhere this secluded. You know what I'm saying? This secluded, you know, I like neighbors. you know, just in case stuff happen. You know, I do got Nina. I do got a, you know, the Glock with me or something. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's just staying out there in the woods, bro. I'm not a woods person. I'm not a wilderness person, bro. So staying out there just secluded like that, I really don't like that. But be some nice houses that this man showing, man.
Low-key avoiding it all. There wasn't a TV down there, so Kevin played some music off his phone, and the two of us talked about some dumb family drama, not even worth mentioning here. While we played, Kevin kept going on about the woods behind Uncle John's house. He said they stretched out for miles, and that hardly anyone ever went far enough to see the cool stuff out there. He talked about how magical it felt, and how beautiful the isolation was. I mostly just nodded along. Nature talk wasn't really my thing, but he clearly loved it. I'm not sure how, but later that day, Kevin convinced me to go on a nature walk with him. Like I said, I'm not a nature person by any means, but I was quite literally dying of boredom, which is probably why I agreed to tag along. We obviously told Uncle John where we were going. He's a really nice guy and always lets us younger people do what we want, a mentality I wish my own parents shared.
Yeah, bro, you gotta understand though, you know, that can be harmful for you, bro. You know, cause I used to think that too when I was little, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, bro, I wish, you know what I'm saying, my parents didn't care and all that, you know, but that right there, that type of, you know, discipline and, you know, your parents not letting you do whatever you want to do, you know what I'm saying? That right there, you know what I mean, saves you from a lot of stuff. I'm not finna let my kids do what the freak they want to, everything they want to do. You gonna hear some no's, nigga. You know what I mean? No, you're not finna go there. No. You gonna hear no? And I'm not finna have them closed in. It's gonna be like a balance. But you got parents out here that literally let their kids do whatever the freak they want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of these kids be in jail. That's why a lot of these kids be dying, bro. You know what I'm saying? They parents, man. A lot of parents. You got some parents that's really old school. You know, some not even old school. You got some parents that parent. You got a lot of these parents that want to be their kids' freaking friend, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not your friend. You want to talk? We can talk. I'm gonna talk with my child. I'm gonna hang out with my child. Be a dad, a good dad to my child. But I'm not gonna be your friend. You know, my job is not to, you know, for you to like me. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I want you to like me. You know what I'm saying? I want to have a good father-son bond, father-daughter bond, whatever. But it's not the number one priority. Yeah, I want my daughter to like me, so, you know, I don't want to get her angry, you know what I mean? So she want to go outside, I'm going to let her go outside, you know? She want to go here, I'm going to let her go there. You know, if he want to go there, I'm going to let her go there, because I want him to like me. I want her to like me. Nigga, please. Discipline will be, you know what I mean, number one priority in this household. You feel me? And that's just what it is.
Kevin took the lead once we got outside.
But I feel him, though. I used to be just like that, too. I ain't gonna lie to you. Especially when it snowed in Alabama, bro. I don't know why this nigga, you know what I'm saying, ain't let me, you know what I'm saying, go outside. I don't know why my pops ain't let me go outside, bro, when it was snowing. You know what I mean? But bro used to just say no. That nigga said way more no's than yes. I can't remember a time. I can remember a time, man, but man, I'm telling you, man, when I mean that nigga probably said like 5 yeses out of my whole life. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That was a no nigga. So that nigga being that way, nigga, when I got grown, I knew not to ask that nigga for a dang thing. You know what I mean? I wanted something, nigga. I'm asking mama, nigga. We all knew, my brother, my sister, me, when we was little, we knew. We wanted something, go ask mama. So we asked that nigga gonna say no. You know what I'm saying? No. We already knew. Bob, can we? No. Danny, no. Can we go? No.
Cutting across the backyard and into the tree line like
dang,
100
you know,
times
never say yes.
before, which, knowing him, he probably had. The woods were thick, but not totally wild. There was a kind of natural path that Kevin was following. It wasn't late in the day, so I wasn't super worried about the sun setting. But the deeper we went, the more I started to wonder how we were going to find our way back. After about 20 minutes of walking, I asked Kevin if he was sure he knew where we were, and he just laughed. He told me he knew these woods like the back of his hand, and that he'd been exploring them since he was a kid. We'd been walking for maybe another 20 minutes when we both stopped at the same time. From somewhere up ahead, we heard this loud thunk, like something heavy slamming into wood. It didn't sound like an animal or someone stepping on a branch. It was reoccurring, like a pause, then another hit, then another
freak is
pause,
that?
and another hit. It sounded like a hammer.
It's Goliath, nigga. Like, the frick is Godzilla? What the frick is going on? Sound like some Godzilla-ish King Kong.
Then another hit, then another pause, and another hit. It sounded like a hammer or mallet being driven against a tree. That's the best way I can describe it. Kevin looked at me, and I could tell he was trying to figure it out too. That sound didn't sound too close, but it was loud enough to be clear. He told me it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that a hunter was wandering around in there, but even so, he definitely looked a little startled. Eventually, the sound stopped.
This is somebody.
I asked if he wanted to turn back, but he shook his head. I could tell he was curious now, and I'll admit, I was kind of too. So we kept walking the direction we thought the sound had come from, both on high alert. We'd only been walking for a few more minutes when Kevin suddenly stopped and held his arm out in front of me. I froze, thinking maybe he'd seen someone in front of us, but then he pointed up into the trees. At first, I didn't understand what I was seeing, but then it hit me. There were 3 upside-down crosses nailed into 3 adjacent trees, way higher up than anyone could have reached without a ladder. Easily 15, maybe 20 feet off the ground. Before we could even turn to leave, I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. I whipped my head around, and to my horror, there was a person standing there. He was dressed like a lumberjack, with a thick beard and a very dark stare. Kevin stepped in front of me, partially shielding me from the guy's view. He stared at me specifically and said, "You shouldn't be here." Kevin immediately apologized to the guy and told him we were just leaving, which is actually what we did. That guy didn't move as we left. He just stared us down as we walked back the way we had come. I could feel my hands shaking. We walked back the whole way in silence, and I've never experienced a more tense moment in my life. The two of us kept turning around, trying to make sure we weren't being followed, but there was no way to tell for sure.
And they could have been peeking behind them trees, never know. But
made it back to the house. We told Uncle John first thing. Like I said, he's a friendly guy and he knows all his neighbors, so I got a sick feeling in my stomach when he said no one he knew matched our description of the guy in the woods. He asked us a bunch of times if we had been followed, and we told him no. There wasn't much else for any of us to do. Someone floated the idea of arming up and sweeping the woods, but Uncle John wanted to avoid confrontation and didn't want to lead anyone to his house. So Kevin and I went back downstairs to chill, and the rest of our relatives went back to whatever they'd been doing, likely planning for the Easter festivities. That whole encounter messed with my head way more than I let on. I ended up going to bed pretty early that night, just to get my mind off of it. But because of that, I woke up way earlier than usual. Like, way earlier. I rolled over, checked my phone, and saw that it was just after 5 a.m. The sun had just barely started poking over the horizon, but it was still mostly dark out. I tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't, so I just decided to get an early start to my day. Uncle John has a study on the 3rd floor of his house, so I decided to go up there and see if there were any interesting books to read. Uncle John's study has this big old window that overlooks the entire backyard. As I walked past it, something caught my eye. There was a very faint, flickering glow coming from the edge of the woods. It looked like the pulsing light of a small fire, not a flashlight or anything that bright. I stood there for a good 30 seconds just staring at it, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Curiosity got the better of me, and I needed to know what I was
you finna go to the woods?
So I went downstairs and stepped out onto the back deck. When I realized what I was looking at, I had to literally fight back a scream. There were at least 3 figures standing just past the edge of the woods, each holding a small torch. They weren't walking or moving around. They were just standing there, facing the house, facing me. I ran straight to Uncle John's room and woke him up, telling him what I saw. Without any questions, he grabbed his rifle, threw on a pair of pants, and told me to stay inside. He marched out onto the back deck and scanned the yard while I watched from the doorway. By that time, though, those people had retreated back into the woods. Without hesitation, he aimed his rifle up into the air and fired it 3 times. That woke up the whole house, and the next 20 minutes or so was complete chaos. I'll just tell you that I can't think of a worse way to spend an Easter morning. The whole holiday was kind of ruined after that, and everyone was on edge for the entire day. Eventually, it came time for my parents.
You know what I'm saying, bro? You came across, you know what I'm saying? Came across, you feel me? Upside down cross. That right there tell y'all what the freak going on. You know what I mean? Them folks on some demonic ish in them woods. That's what I be trying to tell y'all, man. The woods, man. Leave that junk alone, man. You come across cults, you come across things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, no telling what them three creatures was, and they was facing the freaking house.
And I to leave, and I can't say I was upset about it. This was like 9 months ago, and Uncle John has since told us that he hasn't seen or experienced anything strange. Still though, I would hate to be living in that house, knowing there are psychos lurking somewhere nearby.
Yeah, real talk though, you know what I mean? So be careful, Uncle John. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real with you, but it's 6:04. Oh man, it's getting to that time, man. Your boy getting the freaking nerves, man. The boy getting nerves. Not the scare.